What's up, everyone? Bradley Jack Design here with another Designing Live. So today we're going to mess around with some Hornets. So I've got some folder with some stuff in here that we're going to take a look at. So I've got some players cut out already. I sneak peeked some of those already on Instagram, a little bit on Twitter. I'll go in and show you some effects that I've done to those, but I'm not going to delve too deep in just because I want to get into the actual design. I also have some just sort of inspiration here, some stuff I thought would relate to what I'm going to try and make, and then just some Hornet stuff. Really, I'm just going to try and do what Johnny does here with how great this lighting is, but we'll see what I can do. And then I just saw this, which doesn't really have anything to do with this. I just like the texture in the background. So we have some players here that we're going to use. Hold on, let me... had the wrong chat up. Yeah, that Ethan one is amazing. So it's definitely some inspiration on here as well. So I've got some players in here. I have 6 players. It's pretty much the most minutes, whoever they play. So I'm going to just toss them all in here and we can see what we can get started. So I'm going to do these in order of sort of how they're used on the court. So we've got Hayward, then we've got Malik Monk and LaMelo Ball. And then we're going to have PJ Terry and Devontae Graham down at the bottom. Some of you asked to look at some of the editing I did to these photos, so I'm going to share some of that with you now. So this is a photo of Gordon Hayward. So this is the editing I did. So this is what it was before. So this is using just my standard editing, which gets you to this point. I've been tweaking a couple things, so I think that this is a little dark, so I just have this curves layer that's lightening everything up. And then I've got some curves layers, some vibrance layers, and some hue and saturations layers that do some stuff as well. So a lot of this is around his face. So like I have curves to brighten up his eyes a little bit. I have another one to brighten up just the irises of his eyes, and then have a vibrance. I think I was trying to figure out what color his eyes were, so this actually doesn't really do much except make his eyes more yellow. But then his actual part of his eyes look terrible, so then we have a hue and saturation layer, which is set to yellow. And basically I just painted back in areas to make his eyes white again. And then a selective color here, which just puts a little bit of color back into his lips. So that's what these are. So it's the standard... one of my actions is this standard here, and then we have some curves layers to brighten up his eyes essentially and brighten up the whole image, and then basically getting rid of the coloring that is added to the eyes. So that's what's edited there. I've got 2 layers here. I've got one that's a little finer cut out of his hair, and then I've got him cut out. Nothing too crazy. I'll hop in here quickly and show you LaMelo as well. So I like doing these before and afters. They're always fun. So this is the before of LaMelo and this is the after. So I guess I tweaked some of his hair as well. So this is the same thing. It's slightly more a different sort of technique to cut out some of the hair. I actually put a high pass on this. To give it a little bit more clarity, a little more sharpening based on the photo. And then I've got my standard edits that I've made to these. I took off the unsharp mask because it looked a little funky. And then this is pretty much the same stuff that we just saw. So if we get rid of all of this, standard editing, and then a selective color to brighten up the reds, a curves layer to brighten up everything overall, and it's actually just brightening up the back. It's brightening up dark spots. So based on this blend if. It's darkening, lightening the dark areas. Then I'm adding a little bit of red and yellow to the reds with another selective color. And then the same hue and saturation and curves to brighten up his eyes and his teeth. And then I actually added these two little ellipses, just two small little highlights to go in here as well. And those are the edits I did to Lamello. And I did that to all of these images. So we've got all these images. We need to set up a scene first. So what I'm going to do is I already have the colors filled in here for the Hornets. So I'm just going to grab a gradient. I could do this a couple different ways. I never use gradient fills. I don't know why. I just don't. It's on a different window. But so we can give this a gradient fill. So now we've got a little bit of a background going on. I'll delete the background here. And then let's turn our Hayward graphic on. And let's line him up. So I'm going to line him up. Just throw a couple guides out here. Just so he's front and center. Maybe I'll tweak him a little bit like that so he's more upright. And I want him to be the main focus, so we're going to make him a little bit bigger. So we've got him there. And then let's add a polygon, a 6-sided polygon to make a hexagon, because that's the advantage to having Hornets as an actual mascot, is you get to use polygons. And not just polygons, you get to use hexagons, which are very nice to use. You know, they fit together very well. It's not easy to use these all the time. I only use them when it makes sense. I don't try and use them all willy-nilly. I didn't do an action for the guidelines. I just hit Command R and then it pulls up the ruler, and then you can just drag down from the ruler. And then if you have something selected like this, so I hit Command A to select everything, and if you drag over from the ruler, it will snap to the center like this. It's snapping to the center. So I'll snap to the center of whatever you have selected. So if I go in here and select over here now, which is snapping to the guides, I can drag and it'll snap to the center of that and snap to the center of that as well. So that's a good little tip on some guidelines. All right, so we've got Hayward in this box, in this polygon. Let's move it down. No, let's leave it there. But I want the polygon to be cool looking. So I'm going to create another polygon with a fill of 0. And we should be able to give this a gradient stroke. Let's do like 3 pixels. So now it has a gradient stroke of 3 pixels, but I want this stroke to be -90 because I want it to contrast with the background. And actually, let me make that like 6 so I can see what I'm doing. So you can see down here. Oh, I know what's going on, actually. I want to give this back polygon. I want to make this a gradient of the background, but I want it to be the opposite. So then it's giving it a little bit of depth. So then I want this to actually be at 0. So now it's giving a little bit of some zhuzh. Maybe set it to screen, maybe duplicate another one, set it to screen, filter it. Maybe give it a Gaussian blur of 3, 5. 5 looks good. Let's duplicate it again. Got a little bit of some glowing stuff going on. I'm going to group these together. Hexagon lines. Oh, you meant keyboard shortcut, yeah. Now we've got this little thing going on. I'm going to now put Lamello and Malik in here. And I'm going to group all of these athletes together. And look at that, I'm naming stuff as we go. My nephew does not understand that I am not Grover. So we've got athletes. So I'm going to put everybody in this all-encompassing shape, so then we can have everybody in this shape and kind of use this as a basis or structure for the composition of the design. So let's make these guys. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to build hierarchy. So I'm trying to build a compositional hierarchy with who I have in this graphic. So you see we have Hayward in the back, then we have LaMelo and Malik here. And I can go in and I can tweak some of this so they're popping out. You know, maybe I want his hand to come out, which I can tweak as well. Let's do this. So what I want is I want LaMelo's hand to be coming out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate him and get rid of him for a second, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask out some of these other guys. So I'm just going to do a quick mask like that with Malik with a soft brush. I'm just getting rid of these hard edges essentially. So now we have them both there. We'll turn the other LaMelo back on, go back to the border we have, and paint this back in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to invert the selection for this LaMelo layer. And we're going to zoom in. And we're pretty much just going to paint his arm back in. We're just going to paint like this. His arm is back in. And then we'll just get rid of this other stuff. I could probably use quick select for this, but I don't really need to. I'm just going to use it with a brush and do it like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up this composition. And then once we have the composition set up, we're going to play around and make some stuff look cool. I don't have a idea of how I want to do the lighting. That piece by Johnny I showed you, he's got a very dark background, because you need a dark background most times to have some lighting effects work the best, because in order to have light sources show up, you need a dark background. So we may tweak with the background. We already have some with the lighting we did with the outline of the shape. So we might go in and we might utilize that. There we go. I do not like this gap in his hand, because it's like a weird gap. There we go. All right, so we got both these guys in here. I'm going to link these two layers together just so they stick to each other. So if I move them both at the same time. Let's make them just a slightly bit bigger maybe. And then we'll add PJ, Terry, and Graham. So let's start with Terry. Let's put Terry down here, because Terry's looking down to the side. So actually what I'm going to do with LaMelo's arm is I'm going to put it in front of everything. That's the wrong one. So now we have LaMelo there. So now if I go like this, invert the selection, make my brush a little bit bigger with the brackets, as you can see. And there, now Terry is on the inside. So we have Terry small. We've got PJ. We'll toss him over here. Make him the same size, essentially. Maybe we make these guys just a little bit smaller. No, PJ's a little too small. And then we've got Graham here. We'll put him in the middle. Just like this. So we're just creating a little bit of hierarchy with these players. Now the issue is I got to put Terry down here based on the photo. I need all the other guys to sort of match that. But here's what we have so far. So let's do a quick one of these. I think I just saved this as untitled on accident because I hit that button. Hornets graphic, dope, fire. There. All right. So we have this here. Now I have the composition like I have it because I'm probably going to put Hornets down here or something. I don't know. We'll see. So now that we have this, I'm actually going to duplicate the gradient fill at the bottom and set it to multiply. That looks bad. I don't want to do that. Let's just cycle through some blending modes to see what looks nice. Caption for today: perfect compositions with Bradley. That's right. Okay. So we have the composition. Now, usually what I like in my compositions is depth. So we're going to be able to have some depth with the lighting. It's going to show depth in between everybody. But this is when I would go back to the inspiration I pulled. And let's make these big. I pulled a bunch of stuff that like Tony Hwyn made. And I liked this. I liked this because of the use of the shape in the background. It's something I don't have a lot of. Like, I don't know, I just don't put a lot of shape in my graphics. And then this is nice from Johnny. I don't think he made this background, but I'm sure I could find something like it. But again, you can see the hexagon shape is great to use. What's up, Denard? So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to change this to 0. What I'm doing is I'm going to set up the lighting a little bit differently. There we go. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and make it so this teal is coming from this side and this purple is coming from this side on the faces. So we can take a look around here at some of this other stuff. So you see Ethan's got some use here. And some of this is probably stock image, so I can probably find some. I've got the Hornets color codes pulled up right here. I'm going to go to Envato. This is a website I use. So I'm just going to search, I don't know, hexagon. And you see they've got all this cool hexagon stuff. Like, this is stock video stuff, but there's graphics in here. There's nothing wrong with using stock stuff if you in your stuff. You can't be expected to make everything. So let me hop into some photos here. And I might not find anything in here. I just want to see what is in here. Like this is a great just texture to have. So I'm actually going to download this. We don't need it for anything in particular. So I'm going to toss this in here. I'm going to set it to multiply. I'm going to blow it up. We've got this little background going on. I don't like how that looks though. And I'm probably going to delete this, to be honest. Well, that doesn't look too bad. It's not dark enough though. That's my problem. So divide is the opposite of what I want. Whoops, let's zoom back out. What are you doing? Ah, there we go. Helps if you hit the right buttons. What's up, Garrett? All right, I'm gonna delete that. All right, let's throw some lighting on these guys. So I'm gonna use a similar technique that I used in my Fernando Tatis graphic that a bunch of people seem to like, which is good. I'm actually going to move Hayward up a little bit. I'm going to make sure these are connected. And I'm going to move it down just a bit, but I need to make sure I have everything selected. Okay, we have everything here. The LaMelo arm is going to be a problem. I'll figure that out. Actually, I'll just do this. I'll throw it in here. I'll apply this to Terry. I'll go here and I'll hit this. There. Except I need LaMelo above Terry, so I need it. Oh, see, that's what the problem is. LaMelo's arm, I need to be above Terry. There. Why, thank you, Garrett. I'm going to save again just because. Okay, let's start doing some lighting. I'm actually going to hide everybody except for Hayward here. And I'm going to try something. I don't think it's going to work. but we're going to try it. See, I don't like that though. There's this thing you can do. I'll show you for kicks. So I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna rasterize this layer because the only way you can do this is if you have a rasterized layer. I'm gonna hide the bottom one. If you go up to Image, Adjustments, Match Color, it'll pull this up. And you can match the color from a source file and you can select a layer. So I want to select Polygon 1, which I can't. So that's cool. Let me duplicate this and rasterize this layer. There's some things that I don't like doing because you have to do it in raster, and I don't want to do that because I want everything to be smart objects. I also tried this on something else the other day and it did not work. So I'm going to select from this file, I want to select this gradient map. And what it should do is something like this. What it's going to do is it's going to match this color with the colors in the background. So it's automatically adding in some of that darkness or coloring that you would use. This is better for like, what would I say? Blending something into like a sunset. This kind of works, but that's not really what I wanted to do. So let's just ignore I did that. I'm going to go to Adjustments. I'm going to go to Exposure because we want to down the exposure. And you can see how terrible this looks because it's not clipped to him. I'm just going to do -1. And then I'm going to add an adjustment of a gradient map. And I'm going to use the colors that we have. So what do we got here? Here are the Hornets colors. I didn't actually use the Hornets colors in this. I sourced colors. Okay, good. We have this selected. I want this selected. Then I go here and select that. There we go. Perfect. All right, so to do, instead of using the match color, what I'm going to use is use a gradient map using those colors in the background and set it to soft light. And then I'm going to set it to, I don't know. I don't want it to be too much, but I want it to show up. So I'm going to make it 75% maybe. And actually, let's blend if this so it doesn't apply to the highlights. There we go. Wow, that's okay. Let's pull this down here. How far down can we go? Because what I want is I want it to still show up. So it's dark and now it's sort of color matching as well. So this is good so far. This is what we want. There's a couple different ways we can do the coloring now. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do that. I'm gonna try a different method and we'll see if it works. The issue is I can't use the exact color I want. So one way we can do this is I can go in here, saturation set to 50, which is a median. And then I can go through here and I can essentially try to match, let's say, the color on the left. So I need to drop down the saturation, up the saturation. That's pretty much the color on the left. So I can boost up the lightness a little bit, mask it to this, go in here, change this layer to like 100. So it's not affecting everything. Let's tweak it so it doesn't affect the top end highlights either. I think this is the way Jonathan Ogstow does this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to invert that layer, and now we can paint in color. So this is a good method if you want to paint an exact color. Back end, you can do it this way. So I'm going to go in here and figure 20%. Don't like that. Good morning from the UK. See, what I don't like about this is, as you can see, you have to be more refined with how it looks. Like, this looks bad. Like, I don't like that at all. But I'm not thinking in terms of highlights. I want this to only affect... Nope. We're going to do it the curves way and see how that... And we're just going to try and match the color. Because that's what worked the past couple times. That's what I've been practicing with. So again, inverse curve method. You're going to boost up... Is this what we want? Yes, you're going to boost up your negatives. And we're going to have this only affect the highlights. So we can drag this all the way over. Okay, maybe not all the way over. Like a bunch though. And then move this over. And then hit OK. And we want it to match the color of this purple. So purple obviously is blue and red. So there's some blue. If we get rid of green, you can see what happens. More purple already. That's great. Then we can bump the red up. But that's turning it a little bit more pink. So we're going to leave that down. Let's go to the blue. Boost that. That's good. Let's go to the green. And once we find these settings, we can just keep them the same. So what happens if I get rid of some red? That's not too bad. Add some red. See, when you're using the curves, you have to play around a little bit more to figure out the coloring. So maybe actually we want to go in here and do this other side. So maybe we want to add some green. Yeah, we want to add some green and we want to add some blue. We want to get rid of some red. There you go. That's pretty good teal. So let's go with that. That should be pretty good for the highlights. So we're going to invert that. I'm going to darken this a little bit more. And I'm actually going to make this gradient map a little bit more effective. Now if we add these curves back in, okay, good. So let's go here. And with a soft brush, paint back in what's going to be hit from a light on the side of his face, whichever way you're looking. So I'm going to paint back in over here. And we're going to paint in the areas that's getting hit by this light. And what we want to do is, I might make it a little bit stronger on some of these points I know I want to accentuate. So I want to accentuate right here that's getting hit. You know, I probably want the side of his ear to be very vibrant, because that's the closest thing to the side. And I might just sort of manually put in my own little rim light here like this. So we'll just add, oops. Oh, that might be fine. Wow, if you move the canvas around, make sure you have space held, or else you're going to move everything around and not want to do that. All right, we'll drop back down to 20% and just paint back in some of this stuff. So we're painting on this side of his face. Now I showed a lighting exercise I did with the Queen's Gambit, and I think I was a little too heavy-handed with some of these effects. I think that looks pretty decent so far. You might be a little too dimmed, so we'll add that back in, and we can always fix that with the curves. So let's go here, we'll paint this. Let's do 10% just to hit some areas. I want to make this line on his neck realistic. So we're going to draw this line in here. You can see how bad that looks, but we can soften it up by just hitting X with the brush, like this. And then let's soften it back up. Paint back in on the side like that. And knowing where to paint is really what practicing this stuff is, because what you really should do is you should look at photos with drastic lighting from one side and see what parts of the face are actually getting hit and what sides aren't, and what parts aren't getting hit. That's what's going to make this the most realistic. You know, if I go in like this and paint right here, you know, his face probably isn't getting hit there. So it's going to detract from the realism. And that's why I'm trying to do more stuff like this, is to make it more realistic. So I think that's pretty good. You know, I might go in here, and this is where, again, I've said this before, this is where a tablet would come in handy, because I can just take a pen, hit individual lines and streaks of hair like this. Maybe we'll go in here and we'll dumb down this a little bit. That's better. But I think that looks pretty good so far.
That's fire, bro.
So that's not bad for the first go around for this color. You want to do that? Let's do it a little bit more broad. Like that. I will hit save. So we don't really have a shadow source. We really just have two lighting sources. So we have purple and we have blue, which is sort of what we have here in, I mean, that's what Ethan does in this graphic. He's got this cool lighting coming from here, but that's what Johnny does in this graphic. He's got shadows in the middle, essentially, and in the arms, but he's got these big, vibrant lights coming over. But he also has, like, all these highlights in here. Like, these are all highlights he drew in. These are highlights. So, we're not there here, but we're definitely, we're getting somewhere. So, what if I take the exposure and actually make it so it only applies... Nope. Never mind. Okay. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. We're going to name this teal. We're going to invert this. So now we want to match that purple that we were trying to match earlier. I'm going to keep the light part the same because I want to basically make it so it's just purple. No issues, actually. I should make a video or a series where I take other people's art that people submit and rework things. One thing I'm probably going to do for my Patreon is I'm going to take some designs that my followers want, or my patrons want, and try and recreate it. So similarly, do that. So if someone sends me something from a school and says, whoa, how do you do this? I can go ahead and take a guess. But that is something I know has been discussed and brought up by one of my Patreons, one of my Patreon patrons. So I'm going to do that probably. But again, it's going to be just for those patrons. So if you want to see that, join my Patreon, which is right over there on the right side. But there's other stuff on there as well. I have exclusive breakdowns. You might even get access to this file I'm working on, depending on what patron you are. I do have an all access tier where you get access to all of my Photoshop breakdowns. So it's like 25 Photoshop documents. That's something I have on there that I think is, honestly think that's like the biggest thing. Instant access to Photoshop files I made. Okay, I'm gonna bump this up because I think it needs to be lighter. Which means I gotta bump these down. Hello, Oliver. I've been streaming for 34 minutes. Started at 7 p.m. my time. Let's drop this down. Okay. So I'm going to hit this with a pretty broad brush because this side of his face is more open. It's not as closed as this. So I'm going to hit a little bit more broad. And the reason you might want to use a different technique is because you can get some more bold. You can get some bolder colors. And I'll show you. Because I don't like how this is just, like, this is fine, but it's not bright. So what I'm going to do, let me hop in here. That helps a little bit. So if I make a new layer, or actually a new solid color of the purple color, I can set that to do what I want. Do what I want. Set it to color. You can see you can do this. This is hue, and this is set to color. So if you set it to color, I can go in here and set the same stuff up. And then if I add the same color fill to that, you can see that looks way more realistic for light hitting him. It's not as bright. But we can boost this up to make it a little bit brighter. So I'm going to hide this layer. Actually, no, I'm going to turn this layer back on, and I'm going to get rid of some spots in here that it's a little too broad. I think most of these areas are fine, actually, because I think it would be hitting his face here. It just depends on like how much is it actually hitting certain spots. I see like Instagrams of like how to do a dual lighting effect, and they just basically take a gradient, set it to color, and throw it in the middle. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, that technically is how it looks, but it's not very realistic because it's not, paying attention to the actual undulations of a face. All right. So it's not bad. I think it could be better. I might go on with the exposure channel selected and just sort of hit certain spots of his head to brighten them up. I will make it pop. I will do it. I'm gonna go down here. I'm just gonna brighten up a couple areas. All right, we're gonna hit save. So I think this looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna set the gradient map to 100% just because we have our exposure here. What did I want to do? I need to add a rim light around the whole area. So if you hold down the Command or Control key, it'll select the layer. And then if you go to curves, we can boost the curves up. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. So these are both different colors. So what I'm going to do, purple. So I'm going to duplicate the purple and teal layers, which that kind of actually doesn't look too bad if we have them both in there. Create clipping masks for both. I'm going to delete the layer masks on both of them. Select him. Select, modify, contract 3 pixels. Delete the layer mask, reapply the layer mask. Just an easy way of doing it. Apply it to both. Invert both layer masks. And then feather both layer masks at, 6? 6 looks good. So we'll feather them both 6. But I don't want the purple to affect this side. So I'm going to take a brush at 100%. And you can see down here, I'm hopefully masking that out. There it goes. I was like, it literally does not look like it's doing anything over here. And then the teal we're going to mask out over here. Except the teal looks really good, and the purple doesn't look like it's doing anything. You see if I turn on and off the purple, it's not really doing anything. So I'm actually just going to use the teal. So we'll select this layer again, select, modify, contract, 3 pixels. We're going to delete this layer mask, mask this layer, invert the selection so it's just the outside, 6 pixels. Then I'll go in here and tweak it in a couple spots. I just like how it looks over here. A little bit of contrast. Maybe we'll duplicate that. Feather a bunch, like, I don't know, 15. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, we'll save. So let's go, let me look back here. So like, you see what Johnny did. This is what we're basing all of our success off of. If we compare how these two look, mine is dark, 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 dark. His is not. He's got a bunch of bright spots. So what happens if I make this, you know, something like this, get rid of this gradient map. See, that looks, let's set the gradient map back down to 75. And then let's just add in some more, and let's fix some of this teal area. Wow, didn't want to do that. Let's add in some shadows. So I'm going to make a new layer, curves, drop down the shadows. But I want to add in the color like I did. Let's do teal first. Drop the red down a bunch. So there's some teal. We want this to only apply to the dark parts. Maybe that's what we were missing. Then we're going to invert this and we're going to draw some shadows in here with a 20% brush. With a 10% brush. Really all this is doing is coloring it a little bit. But where there might be shadows, it's also darkening those areas that we would want darkened. And that's what makes Johnny so well, is he comes in here and he darkens these areas a whole bunch that's not hitting the light. You know, he's probably hitting this area with some teal because it's getting hit. So dark, 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 dark light. I like how that looks. Let's add one more curves layer. Same deal. Drop it low. Move this over a bunch like that. Hit OK. Take our blue and increase it a bunch. And take our red and just decrease it a bit. Nope, keep the red the same because we want it to be purple. Get rid of the green. So there we go. Invert this. Come down here. And add in some shadows in these spots. I think part of it too, if we grab the purple, I need to turn this gradient map up. No? Teal? I don't want to do that. Not with teal. Sorry. We want purple. I actually want purple to match this color fill. So we're going to paint purple in here. Across most of him. And then we want to paint some teal on this side. And then just hit a little bit of purple right here. And then that's a lot of purple. Alright, I think that's fine though, actually. I am noticing one weird thing. So I know at some point in time, it must not have saved on here when I was editing this photo. He's got a little sparkle right here on his eyeball. But this eyeball is left out, so I'm going to give him a sparkle there. And we're going to filter, Gaussian blur. Yikes. We're going to convert it to a smart object. Filter, Gaussian blur. Or Gaussian, if you want to be fancy. Save and come back here. Okay, now it's there. It looks good from the back. Okay. There. We spent 45 minutes. We got one guy lit. I think he looks actually... I think it looks pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with how that looks. I'm going to do... one more thing, though. We're going to add a very intense... We're going to add a very intense ring light to this. So adjustments, curves, brighten that bad boy up a bunch, invert it, and then let's just bump this up a little bit. 8 pixels is good. Save. One more layer, and what this layer is going to do is it's going to do that. It's going to hypothetically add a little bit of depth. So now it looks like he's coming out of it more. So I'm going to save. I think that looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much copy and paste all of these layers on everyone else. We've got Malik and LaMelo. So we're going to paste. We're going to create clipping mask. So these are all on LaMelo. We're going to select LaMelo. We're going to image... select, modify, contract. This is a smaller photo, so we're only going to do 2 pixels. We're going to delete this layer mask. We're going to mask it back in. We're going to invert it. We're going to set this to 5 pixels. This is ring light 1, but we really want that to apply to all of these. As you can see, it's doing that, but we want one of them to be smaller. So we only want to contract 1 pixel, which I think that would have done. And then let's make this like 2.5. I know I'm working fast. I'm pretty much doing the same exact thing for these ring lights for LaMelo. But we want to get rid of all of this. So now everything's there. It looks terrible. Let's invert all of these selections so we can see what we're doing. So you can see we've got a ring light on here. We want the gradient map to apply. Let's set that one to 100%. And this one we want to tweak the blend if because it's not really affecting him because this photo is a little bit brighter. So let's drag a little bit more, a little bit more. Let's do that. Looks good. Let's start with the purple. So we're going to go in here and we're going to paint in, which I am doing. You can barely see it, but I am doing it. We're going to paint with a brush. Now I want this to actually be pretty bright over here. What is this? This is darkening purple. Dark purple. So, no. Miles Bridges is not on this because I could not find a good photo of him. And Hornets stats. So if we look on here, I took the top 6 points per game people. I looked for photos of Miles. I just couldn't find a good one. NBA Geek, I use my own actions, so I have them here. I mainly use BJD2. If it has blue or yellow in it, I use these. And then I do other tweaks beyond that. So it's not just all from You can't do everything with one action because every photo is different. I should have done a dunk one of who in particular. I wanted everyone to sort of have equal play in this. So I didn't want them to... Man, I need to fix this. This is... Doesn't look like this is doing anything. Let me dumb this down a little bit more. See what that does. NBA Geek, I have a video on there of how I do some editing. It doesn't show exactly what the actions are. The actions are actually available in my shop on my website. So they're available on there. So here's the problem. We've got LaMelo. But then we also have LaMelo's hand up here. So we're going to have to copy everything we do here and apply it to his hand as well. But it's the same clip, so that's not a problem. So I'm going to boost this up to like 70. And as you can see, it doesn't look like we're doing anything, which is annoying. This is purple, right? Purple? Mm-hmm. See if we add that. See if we apply it to the color field. See, that just looks like straight trash. Wow. That looks bad. All right, let's do the teal. Because that's funky. All right, there we go. So the teal's going. I think it's because there's darker areas over here. Let's drop this back down to 1. So in the Queen's Gambit design thing I did, I mean, I went in and, you know, I spent time hitting little highlight spots like this, hitting highlight spots here, making sure that like edges were accentuated because the edges would have a brighter spot. A lot of it is just taking your time and going in and trying to hit the areas that you know are getting hit with light. We'll hit down here again. Toss them in here. We've got general blue on this. So you've got some teal going on. So you can see if when we zoom in, you can see how his face, there's a little bit of noise from the photo, which is why I turned off the, whatever it's called, unsharp mask. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna try and lighten up the lips a little bit. Maybe we hit the teeth, make them teeth shine. Go down here to his chin. Make sure we hit that area. Tips for beginning designers is really learn how to use the tools of Photoshop because that's what they are. Now, so it's kind of hard for me to give tips to designers or younger beginning designers because I went to college for design, so I know a bunch of stuff for designing. You know, I know, what do I want to say? I know like design theory and stuff like that. That's not dark teal, that's dark purple. So for me, I know naturally like, okay, this is how I'm going to set up the composition with the hierarchy, and this is how I can use negative space to my advantage in this graphic that I'm making. That might be harder, a little bit lost on younger designers. All right, let's add some dark purple in here. There's some dark purple over here. There's some dark purple over here. We get some dark purple here underneath his ear. Man. I accidentally switched to the dark teal, this is actually the dark purple. I'm just like painting color on him. It doesn't make any sense. So we turn that purple layer back on. What happens if I... Yeah, there we go. Drop this down a little bit. I'm gonna set this, I'm gonna turn this layer on. Okay. But it's set to 20, so let me do like 33%. Okay, now we can add back in some of the purple. And again, we can't really see a lot of what I'm doing because it's already so bright, and that's the reason you can't see it. But if we apply this other layer underneath it, like this, and then go like this, we can see it. And then it's in there. I mean, that doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty nice. We got all the layers in there. Maybe I'll go into the exposure. And I will hit this area up over here. Hit certain spots. Again, hit some of those accentuation points. Like here on his nose. Right here. Hit the teeth. Don't want to hit the lips like that. Maybe a bit of the edge like that. I'm going to make sure I'm using a soft brush. We'll hit some edges as well. So that looks pretty good. Works for me. So now we need to take all of these and we need to turn on this guy, paste it here, right click, create clipping mask. Now they all apply to this guy. And what part of him is actually on here? Like that. I actually need to fix some stuff down here. Oh. Copied the wrong ones. That's why it looks bad. I need to copy these guys. Copy these guys and paste these guys. Right click, create. Oh gosh. I need to paste these. Well, I guess I could just do this. Copy and paste is complicated sometimes. So let me just drag these up on top of Lamello and then right click, create clipping mask. There. Now we're cooking with what we want. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to add some teal. Teal to the side here. I want to add some dark teal. But dark teal is actually dark purple. I think. I'm going to darken up some of these, so I'm going to select dark purple down here. That's better. Except that's dark. No, I want dark teal. Oh, I know why I did that. Okay. Yeah. Wow. So I like using really light brushes that don't have drastic effects. So whenever I paint and it does something like that, I'm like, whoa. That's not what I wanted. Okay, save, back out. All right, well, we're already at 8 o'clock and we've done nothing. We've got these guys here. I want to add some exposure up here. I want to add some more teal up here. On Lamello's hand, I want to add in some teal down here like this. That's what I want to do. Okay. Copy. Pull up Malik Monk. Paste. Right click. Create clipping mask. Delete clipping mask. Exposure. Apply to all of these. All right. Cooking with gas. Delete layer mask. Select Malik Monk. Contract. This is the big one, so let's do 4 pixels just for kicks. We're gonna mask it, invert it. I'm gonna hide all of these because this is what it's gonna look like realistically. Let's do 8. We're gonna select him again. Select modify contract. Let's do 2 for this one. Yeah, Garrett, it's going to take forever, so I might do the other 3 at my own leisure, and we'd do some other stuff so I can show you guys some cool stuff. What am I doing here, guys? I'm creating a clipping mask. Delete vector mask. Delete layer mask. Clip. Delete layer mask. Clip. Oh, I got rid of the selection. No, I didn't. It's right here. Clip like a normal person. There we go. Weird. Turn it back on. We can see the edge it's giving. What is this even doing? Very faint edge. 1 pixel. Let's apply it to this as well. Turn this guy on. There we go. Okay, we want this one to be a little bit more broad, so let's make this 2.5 pixels. We have the gradient map set to soft light. Let's see if we drag this over. That's fine. This is actually dark teal, I think, and this is actually dark purple. All right, so dark teal. Let's add those in first, because I can be a little bit more generous with just the... I could be a little more wonky donkey with these. Because not a lot is actually going to be hit with the shadow. Dark purple. You know, I don't really know what's going to actually be hit with this dark purple, because everything's being hit. Okay. Is that a regular teal? Oh, I deleted our teal layer, so let's paste that back on. Okay, so we've got the teal layer down, and it's hidden. So now we just want to paint teal back in. So I'm going to take a soft brush. I mean, his whole arm is getting hit here. Let me take this so it affects a little bit more. Like that. Where's the enter button? Jeez. Alright, so then we can go up here and hit the side of his face. Since he is pretty open here to the teal side, we can paint a little bit more aggressively, because we know this whole side is getting hit with teal. Get up in his hair here, over here. Some of these spots in here. And so, realistically, you know, I might spend 30 minutes or an hour alone just on one person to make sure the lighting is perfect. But for you guys, I'm doing this in 90 minutes. So we don't have that kind of time. So we'll hit the inside here with some teal like this, and then we'll go to the purple, which as you can see is doing absolutely nothing. So we'll turn the color fill on. The color fill's not really doing anything either. And I'm gonna throw this up here. That could be part of it too, is based on where it is. Okay, so we're gonna use this color fill of purple. I'm gonna paint it back in over here on this side of this face. What happens if I make it 100%? So on this side, he wouldn't really have that teal coming off the side. You would have purple. So I put this layer up on the top so it makes sure that anything that's purple is actually going to be purple. And it's essentially colorizing that. But if I take that and copy it to this purple layer and we blow up the highlights, it should brighten that up. What we can also do is we can delete that from the exposure, so then it's brightening up this side of him as well. So we did this very quickly. So we're going to brighten up some areas. All right, save, back, man 0. All right, so here's what we have. So far it's decent. But we want to do some other things to show you. What do I want to show you on here now? So if we want this to really be realistic, see, like that just looks so good. Like I don't even know how he does this. Like, okay, what? All right, go to some assets. Let me open up Bridge. I want stock images. I want lighting. I got a bunch of lighting stuff in here that we're going to open up in Bridge, which is over here. We're going to whip my neck around over here and boom, lighting. Okay, cool. Actually, I want some flares. We're going to have flare to this. So what kind of flare do I want to add though? Add a couple of these. I don't even know where this went. Imagine if we could create exactly what we have in our heads. Do you mind like just think about it and it automatically happens? Because that would be awesome. Okay, so we've got this flare behind Malik. But the issue is the flare's being impeded by this here. So that's a problem. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take this. Actually, I'm gonna do this. Make a new layer. Put it on top of everything. Set the layer to color. Select the teal. Big old broad brush. Actually, no. I'm gonna set this to screen. There. And you got a little bit of light. So then I can grab one of these flares. Not really a flare, really this. Which has a thing on it, which is funny. We're gonna get rid of this. I think this is a free download, which is why it has this stupid watermark on it. We set that to screen. We're gonna put it right here behind Malik. Like this. We're gonna set the adjustments. We're gonna use the levels layer to just get rid of the edge. Okay, so the edge is gone now. We can group this together. Layer. And then I'm going to find Malik. Found him. We're just gonna crop it to that. Except we're gonna hit Command I, and there, now it's behind him. Look at that. I like that. That looks nice. Let's add another one. Let's add this one. Set it to screen. Put it right there. Give it a levels layer. Save it right there. And we'll just duplicate this layer. Might as well. select this guy, Lamello. Delete the layer mask. What's up, Sagaria? Invert the mask. Then we'll just drag these same guys over here. And now there's lighting behind him. Wow. Are which stock photos able to be purchased? The stock photos that I like, these guys I found online for free somewhere. I don't remember where. There's a lot of websites that have a lot of different freebies weekly. Creative Market has freebies. I think the Hungry JPEG has some freebies. You can find, if you dig around, you can find free assets that you can use in your designs. Yeah, the flares, I don't remember where I got the flares, but I do recall that they were free. Maybe design cuts. I tend to get a lot of stuff from there. Let's add this flare up here, just like that. Oh, but it's in front of Lamello. So that's a problem, because we want it behind Lamello, which means we need to take this and delete it. Oops. All right, what are we doing here? Why are you the way you are right now? I'm very confused. Yeah, I know. I gotta invert the selection. That's why. Make sure the selection's inverted, and then it will work. Oops. Invert the selection again. What did I just say? Okay. Okay. Boom. Flare City. Lighting City. Cool stuff all around city. Okay, so I'm not going to do the other ones yet. I'm going to do those off stream because we're just going to do the exact same thing for these three guys at the bottom. So let's add some more cool shit to this instead so we can make it look good. Okay. So I want some depth. So I need something in the background because the background looks stupid right now. It's just a gradient. So what do we want to add? I got a bunch of stock images here. I mean, we could probably use we could probably go in and find a nice lens dirt to throw in here. Maybe some grain. Nope, that's too much. That one's good. Set this to overlays. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't want that. I don't want, what am I clicking? There, we added the most subtle, oh God, what happened? What is this? What is this? Why is this the way it is? Oh, I know why. What did we do? Why did you do that, sir? Really? All the way back down there? Okay. So we got this guy here. What happened over here? Look at this. That's not what that looked like a minute ago. What happened? It's like something kicked in. Or did it look like that? Because I hate how that looks. You see that? You see that? You see how it looks different if I zoom out to back here and it's like terrible, and then I zoom in, it looks fine? Like, come on, Photoshop. You're making me back out of stuff I don't want to do. Alright, we're going to set this overlay back up to screen like we had it before. God, just... Save. Alright, let's find some more stuff to put on the front of this. Stock images. Garrett, look at that timing. You like that? If you like this content, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Okay, I want a lens dirt, because lens dirts are bae. So we're gonna throw a nice little lens dirt in front of this, give it some depth. We're going to cover up LaMelo's face in the process. No big deal. Boom. Levels layer on top of that. Spacey. Let's take that same gradient map. Toss it on here. Let's rotate this a little bit just so we're not completely covering LaMelo's face, because people apparently like him. Just do that. Hey, look. Nightbot, Nightbot likes you. So that's fun. Okay. Cool stuff in the front, cool stuff in the back. Let's figure out how to use this. Let's figure out how we can use this in the background. Come on, there we go. Okay. What if we set this to multiply? Why are you the way you are? That's the question. The only way we're going to be able to make this look good, I think, is if we... But I don't want to use a gradient map. There, subtle details. We got some subtle details in the back. Yeah, we'll throw another gradient on it. I think that'll work. I mean, I like how this looks so far, so I hope you guys do too. This is where the design process comes in, of knowing what I've done in the past and knowing what works well. I'm gonna put the Hornets down here. Let's do that. Let's put some text down here that's not gonna match the rest of this at all. But I don't care, because I'm gonna show you something cool. All right, let's type in Hornets. What font are we on? Hanyo. Mars attacks. Mars attack. Middle. 250. Hornets. An NBA sticker in the corner, like the edit you were looking at. Just like the logo of the NBA. I personally, not that this is the same thing, but I try to avoid putting stickers on stuff. I'll put a wax seal on this. I like doing that. No, this is what I was going to do. I was going to look at APR financing. Envato. Honey drip. Garrett, what were you saying? Honey? Put some honey on there?
That's what she said.
It doesn't really fit, but I'm gonna put some honey on here. Photos. The problem is finding honey that drips. Let me just search the word drip. And then we're going to put on the graphic and say that this graphic came through dripping. 3D might not be terrible. dripping drop of oil close up. Add-ons. Look, a gold dripping Photoshop action. I don't think that's what you want, though. Anyway, okay. So we're going to contrast styles. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to make it black. I'm going to convert both of these to a smart object. We're going to go into that smart object. We are going to right-click this, convert it to a smart object, and make it a little bit bigger and blow it up just a little bit. Move it up. We're going to filter, Gaussian blur. 15. Perfect. Adjustments. Threshold. Perfect. We're going to change the Gaussian blur to 10. Threshold. That's good. That's what I want. Yes. The font is called Mars Attack. You can find it somewhere on Google, I think. Oh, I think I got it from Envato, actually. You might not be able to find it on Google. So we got the Hornets down here. We're going to keep that like it is. We're going to convert that to a smart object. No, we can't convert that to a smart object. We're going to convert this all to a smart object, and now we have that. Okay, good, great, grand, wonderful. We're going to go to my stock images. We're going to go to grunge. Let's get some grunge on here. Get our gringe on. This looks good. Throw some grunge in here. Invert it. Not invert it. Invert it. We have 3 inverts now. Oof. Nope. Okay, hold on. Back it up. Backer. More backer. Let's throw this on here. Invert it. Put it down here. Select Hornets. We're going to select, modify, expand 25%. And we're going to mask it to this. Ugh. Didn't like that. What are you doing? Expand. 15%. Mask. Put below threshold. Good. Duplicate this, throw it on top. Don't invert it. Select and multiply. Do one of these. Do one of these. Go like this and flip it around like that. Hit enter. Go like this. Perfect, 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 perfect. Okay, so I want to take this guy, right click. Let's take a... I think I can just use a soft brush, actually. What happens if I don't invert this? That's what I thought. That's what I want to do. I want to filter and I want to blur this blur. I want to blur the selection. Okay. I didn't do what I wanted. Filter, blur, motion blur. Let me zoom back out. Let's do like 200. What happens if we toss this on top? Nope, underneath. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's grab this sand splash. Just kind of go like this. Boom, 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 boom. All we're doing right now is we're just adding some texture to this. As you can see, because I think this looks kind of cool. Paint some back in. Okay. Now what do we want to add? I believe I have this thing called a bunch of brushes on here that do sort of stuff like this. Drop, 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 drop. How happens if I put this here? Not much. It's kind of fun. Alright, let's do this. Put it on top. Drip, drip, drip. Ooh. I don't want to do that though. I want a full brush. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Good, Jordan. I am glad and happy to hear it. These brushes are too damn big. That's too damn big.
That's what she said.
There. A little drippy drip drip. I get spray paint because everybody loves spray paint. It's the universal love. Everybody loves spray paint. You can't tell me otherwise. Spray paint. Click, click. Rotate, rotate. Click, click, click. That's a very weird area. Oh, that's why. The whole selection is wrong. It makes no sense. Looks way better. Weird. All right, we got a couple more sprays. So I'm going to add a couple sprays to some areas here just to add some more texture, and then we'll finish up in a minute. All right, so that looks cool, right? All right, let's convert this all to a smart object. So now it all looks like this. What did it look like before? That? All right, it converted well. So we're gonna go to filter, we're gonna go to pixelate, crystallize. How many crystals? Let's take a look. Zoom, 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 zoom. Two. 1. 3. There. Save. Back. Oliver, that is something I would definitely do. Alright, so now we're here. Now if I just hit screen, we've got this cool looking Hornets, which completely clashes with the style of what this looks like. But it looks cool. So we're going to mesh some styles real quick. And maybe we can finish up this graphic in 2 minutes. All right, I want borders. I want this border specifically. I'm going to flip it around. We're going to invert. We're going to set to screen and we're going to blow it up. I said we're going to invert it. Set it to screen and blow it up. And boom. There we go. We'll fix that with a little bit of a levels layer, but I have something selected. Oh no. I fixed it.
Hooray!
All right, so we're just gonna make this a border. What kind of border? I don't know. A cool looking grungy white border. Like this. A little too much. Pull it back out just a little bit. A little bit up. I need to see that bottom a little bit more.
That's what she said.
Okay, so then I'm going to take this grunge we used, right? We used that grunge. We're going to pop it on top of here, get rid of the inverts, delete this. Set this to multiply, blow this bad boy up, flip it around like this, so then that has some grunge to it. Man, this Hornets doesn't match at all, and I don't care, because that's the fun of it. Mesh and styles. Okay, what was I gonna do? Oh, I was gonna find some bees. That's what I was going to do. Hornet. Yeah. Boom. 3D Hornets. Look at that. Boom. Paper Wasp. View 3D render. Da bees. So let's download this angle. No, Anthony, do not mention the bee movie. Let's have one looking this way, like that. This one actually looks like it's flying. So we'll pull a 3D rendering of this guy. Oh, these are way better. See, the issue is it has this shadow there I'm trying to get rid of. So let's go all the way to the back. And let's throw some of these bees in here. Look at that. Look at that bee. Look at that bee. It's gonna get you. The bees are gonna get you. Gradient map on top. Set that to normal though. And set it to 100%. And get rid of the blend diff. And then boom. It's a purple and teal bee. Except we kind of still want it to be black. Come on, there it is. Boom. It's a hornet. It's a hornet. It's not a bee, it's a hornet. Correct. Hornet. There's one hornet. Let's grab this hornet and then just flip it around because who cares? We're making this up on the fly. We're making it up on the fly. Get it? That's comedy. I don't even think I'm going to put those other guys in there. Because I usually make something just as a whole. So I think I'm just going to... I like making something completely for you guys and posting it. Ooh, I can fix that. That's not a problem. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop these guys down a little bit. Make Malik a lot bigger now. And we'll just post these three. Because I make the rules. Delete. Okay, good. Add that to that. Delete this layer mask. Don't know what I'm doing. Blah, 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 blah. Delete. Delete. That's good. Then we take this lamello, we click it up here, we mask, invert, hold down this, delete. Switch it up, delete. Save, back up, back up, back up. That's not how this works. I need to set this to screen, and I need to invert it, don't I? I also need to set this so the underlying layer is the only thing that gets affected. Like that. And then set it back to multiply, and then invert it again. There. That's what I want. So I can move Hornets up. Like this. Group these together. Take this gradient fill, paste it up here, apply it to the top here, set it to... No, multiply might work. No, multiply doesn't work because of that layer. I can set it to this layer though. Alright, we're gonna do one thing and then we're gonna be done. We're going to copy this, go to the channels, make a new one, paste it in here, delete it like that, select the layer, hide it, go back here, click, 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 click. What's your favorite Adam Sandler movie? Click, 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 new. Screen. J. Overlay. Under this. Turn this back on. Set it to screen. That did nothing. Alright, well. Here we go. Yeah, let's add my logo. I gotta find it. Logo. New. 3D logo. I have one in here. Logo. 3D. I really need to put my logo somewhere easily accessible. Hold on, it's right here. I don't like that one though. This is my 3D rendered one that's like kind of funky looking. Let's do this instead. New logo. Hold on, I know where it is. This button. Logo. Drag and drop. Let's drop this one. Delete, delete. Yeah, that's it there. Adjustments. Because I don't want to go into Illustrator and delete this out. So I'm just going to go like this. Drop, 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 drop. Hello, Mr. Logo. Let's go up here. Right? I don't know where to put you, logo. Just put it up here and let's just put a box around it like a Neanderthal. Put a big black box behind it. Yeah, a couple of these techniques, Chris, I just learned, which is why I'm implementing them in here. Hold on, I gotta open this up because this line is bugging me. And it's going to show you the colored version then. 3, 2, 1, Illustrator. So last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this. And then I think we're going to wind it down for this stream. Yeah, I mean, I can just do that. So that's too complicated to go in here and just mask. Select. Search a brush for a square brush. And go like this. Click. Click. The issue is it has this other texture with it. That's the main issue. There. Now it's gone. Alright, let me grab my logo from over here. Copy. Delete. Paste. Let's paste a smart object. Where you at, smart object? Let's go hang out in this corner up here. How's that sound? Yeah, right there. And actually, let's go to this. Let's convert this to a smart object, right? That's how things work. If I had it set it to screen, and then I can go to filter, crystallize this a little bit. I'll jag it up a bit. Yeah, this actually kind of looks cool, actually. So that's cool. Bridge. One last thing I want to throw on top of this is a lens overlay. I like this one. Toss this on top of everything as well. Set this to screen. Like that. And then this gradient map, paste it on top of that. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. Maybe we go like this. Blow it up just a little bit like that. Nope, it's gone. Okay. One final thing, color lookup. There. And then one final thing is converting this all into a smart object and doing some final camera raw filters. A little bit more contrast. Let's dehaze it slightly, give it a tiny bit of clarity, maybe not. Let's pump up the vibrance, that looks dope. Whites, sure. Highlights, sure. Shadows, no, do not touch the shadows. Optics, distortion. Of course we want some distortion. There, we'll just do that. 3, 2, 1, done. All right, boom. We are finished. We trimmed out some of the team, but I think we came up with a pretty sweet looking graphic. Thank you guys for joining me once again. It's fun doing these for you and showcasing my process and showing you how my mind works with design. Make sure to hit that like button below and subscribe if you have not. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And until then, I'm glad you were quick to select to spend your time with me today here. So thank you, and you guys have